What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. Yeah. And before we get started, make sure you guys go to our website and you guys follow us everywhere. You can go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You can follow us everywhere at Opposite Pod. The best thing you can do is to share this with somebody else. Share the clips channel with somebody else. You can go on YouTube and look for Opposites Attract Podcast clips and subscribe. We've been getting all kinds of subscribers on that channel. Yeah, it's like daily subscribers, which has been awesome. So definitely share that with people. We really appreciate it. Yeah, and if you guys want to support us, you can go to oppositesattractpodcast.com and click on the support the show tab. You can click through Amazon, help us out that way. Go to Monkeys 8 Mushrooms, Monkeys, the number 8 mushrooms.com. Check out the t-shirt design that I made. And yeah,
good stuff. So
welcome back, everybody. Yo, last week we re-released episode 3.
Yes, and we will be doing that every now and again. So those of you that may be new listeners, maybe you have not followed us throughout this entire process. It's really cool to go back and see where we started and how you can see the difference and the growth that has happened within the time that we started till now.
Yeah. No, it's like night and day. You know, just going back and looking at, it was episode 3. That episode, when I was kind of going back and editing it again, we were kind of talking about how that was like our first real episode. Because the first couple was like, why did we even decide to start this thing? And then like, who are we? And like, what are we going to be talking about? And then episode 3 was like the first one where we just kind of started talking about stuff, you know? So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. How was it editing it for you though?
Like technically, like or listening back to it. It was funny. It was funny listening back to it because you can feel and hear
the nervousness,
like the clunkiness of it. You know what I mean? Like we're not pros the way we are today. You know what I mean? But it was cool to go back and, you know.
Yeah. Did you find yourself judging yourself a lot while listening to it or watching it?
It's like, dude, you suck.
Really?
No, not really. I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're learning. We're new. That was episode 3, like I said. So
yeah, interesting. I think we should do that every now and again.
No, I think we will. Yeah. I'll figure out a way to do it. This time, really, it just kind of happened that way that, like I had mentioned in some of the previous episode, I was kind of thinking about like what to do, you know, with the podcast. And, you know, it is something that we've made. So like at this point, we're at 300 plus episodes, right. Some that you guys have never even heard of from like the very beginning. And like I said, in the very beginning, some of the stuff is hard to watch. It's hard to listen to because it's just not the best. Yes. So I was like, you know what? I can re-edit it and it'll look better. It'll sound better. And, you know, maybe it'll be nice to, put those back out.
So that was 2020, correct?
No, that was 2019. It was, so the original episode came out April 28th, 2019.
Okay.
That was episode 3.
So that was during the COVID.
No, that was before.
2020. Okay.
That was before COVID.
Right, because I remember us having an episode and we were like joking around.
We were wearing masks on the episode. Like not masks, like gas masks and stuff. When we didn't know and we thought everybody was going to die or live. Like we thought we were going to be locked in our houses for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
That was an insane time. Like those were real thoughts.
Right. And we were speaking about it.
Yeah.
Like we were speaking about everything.
I remember talking about like, what are we going to teach the kids if they don't go back to school?
Right.
And I actually remember like talking about, dude, if they don't go back to school, like we talk shit about the school system all the time.
Right.
I was like, if they don't go back to school, I'm the teacher. New curriculum, kids. Guess what you're learning today? Conspiracy theories. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. But it's so like when you think back at all the things that we've went through during that time and even before then, because the world was supposed to end in 2012. Was it 2012 or what year? What year was it where everything was supposed to, or was it 2020?
No, I think it was the Mayan calendar thing, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, it has something to do with the world. Yeah. Yeah, that was years back.
Yeah, but it's all these different things that were supposed to happen that never happened.
Did we go through that one too on the podcast?
Oh no, we're gonna have to look back
that one
at
was
it.
Way
but
back. No, I don't think we did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's just, all the different things that have happened.
So yeah. What was it that made us? It was your event. It was all the stuff that you had going on, which we haven't talked about. Well, I think we talked about a little bit. Like you had a sound healing, and then we had this weekend. You had the weekend event that you did that you were like planning, and you were running a bunch of the stuff that was going on there. Mm-hmm. And because of it, like you were busy all weekend.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a chance to like sit down and record. And I had a feeling, I was like, I can see the way this weekend is going. And I don't know if we're going to get to record. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to look up what's the backup plan, and get episode 3, re-edit it, because I had already had that thought in my mind,
Right.
And it just happened. It had to happen.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, this weekend was great. I learned a lot. It was very busy. I was hosting friends at the house as well. You were out of town. And then we had a funeral service to go to
in Vegas
that same week. Yeah. On Thursday. And it was just like nonstop. So I haven't even really gotten time to myself to really integrate what took place for me. Like really to sit down and process all that I created and all that I learned and all that I've,
So, yeah.
And the first episode, like,
yeah.
For Soul to Soul podcast. I mean,
yeah. So let me see. So we had talked about the last time that there was like a Thursday. I think we talked about your first sound healing on the last episode, right? The last actual one that we recorded. But then that was like on a Thursday. And then you had your event, which went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I believe I was flying out on Monday.
Yes.
And I was flying out on Monday. And you had already told me that you wanted to record your first episode while I was gone.
Right.
Right. So we wanted to make that happen. And we had been talking about this. And so my idea was like, well, if I'm going to be leaving, I want to leave this thing set up. Like you've been practicing setting stuff up. So you're pretty much getting there on being able to set it up by yourself. But this is a little bit different because now you're going to have your own podcast with 3 people instead of 2, which makes it a little different. So I was like, I'm going to leave it set up so that you can do it. And I did. So I left Monday, work wrapped up early. And I think I came back Tuesday or Wednesday. No, I think I came back. Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, while I was out to work, I get called by work asking for me to fly out the next week to go to New York. And because you had just had this event, you had people that were here. So you still had kind of like the overflow of people that were from the event. And you still want to kind of take advantage of the opportunity that you have with the people that are here while they're here. So you're still going out and meeting with people and event like other side quests, I guess you want to call it, or whatever, right? And then you recorded your first episode. And then after that, you pack up, the kids pack up, I'm in New York, and you guys drive up to Vegas for a funeral, and I fly to Vegas and meet you there. And then we spent all last weekend in Vegas.
Yeah.
It has been nonstop.
Yeah.
So you haven't had time to freaking, get like process or like really sit down and like think about everything that's gone on. Yeah, we're back at it. I mean, we got home at 10 o'clock last night, and I'm working when I get back the next day, like get home at 10 o'clock, wake up the next morning, work. Now we're recording, so it's just been, like I said.
Right. I did get some time to sleep though, which was good. I felt like I could have slept all day. So I was giving myself today time to just rest, but there's a lot that's happening with the retreat and everything that's moving forward. What I wanted to share was what I experienced going back and, attending the celebration of life, which is, my aunt and my uncle passing away. And it was in Nevada. So I hadn't seen my cousins in years. and even my uncle and my aunt. And I would follow them here and there on Facebook and see, how they're doing, and my cousins and all of that. But it's been so long, and we have such a huge family. And I hadn't really gotten together with my uncles and aunts, even the ones that live here. Because it seems like after my grandmother passed away, the family kind of just split. We used to have family get-togethers all the time. And in my family, we have a lot of individuals who are very gifted when it comes to playing instruments, like the guitar, and then those that
musically
sing. How was it? Like for you,
cool.
This was the first time you actually got to experience my family.
Yeah.
Like
no, it was
all
fun.
together,
It
my
was a good
mom's
time.
side of the family.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Just everybody was super nice, and yeah, I had a great time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeing all of them and how much they aged, and recognizing that we don't have a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And I took advantage of that time, of spending time with each and every one of them and just really getting to know them.
Yeah.
And sharing, some things that I felt called to share with them. Because I noticed that with some of them, the aging process was hitting hard. Right? Like it was hitting hard.
Why does it hit harder? That hit hard, like Joey says.
It's funny because we were listening to Alan Watts on the way home, and Alan Watts was talking about it. What happens at the end?
Yeah.
We all die.
And we want to avoid that.
It's
as
scary.
As much as possible. It is scary.
For a lot of us.
Yeah.
And at that age, the age that they are, right? My Theo Tom is 83 years old. You start to see a lot of your siblings passing away and others that you know.
Yeah.
And if there are things that you're not happy with, decisions that you're not happy with, regrets you're holding on to, it makes it even that more difficult. And my uncle was a very independent man who created millions of dollars in his business, created it, lost it, created, lost it. And I asked him, what is the one thing you would have done different? And he said, I wish I would have invested. Like he knew how to make money.
Yeah.
But he didn't know how to make that money make more money.
Yeah.
And talked about like gambling emotionally when things would get tough for him.
Yeah.
And how that was a number for him. He shared with me that he had lost $25,000 one time.
Yeah.
And there was so much.
But there's something to that though. Because there was something that we were listening, like you were, of Alan Watts that you were saying earlier. I can't remember exactly, but you remember when they were saying something about, I think it was like the priest was talking to a guy that was sick or whatever. Like he had lived like a really hard life or whatever, and he was dying. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of like he had to like let this shit go. Was ultimately the lesson. Was like, you have to just fucking let it go. And then it was kind of like right before he fucking dies, or it's like the priest was kind of telling him like, are you going to die? Like this?
With this? Holding on to this?
And then he finally like lets it go. And he's like you finally got it, but hopefully you don't wait until that point.
Right.
Because I have a feeling that something about investing money, like if you're thinking about, I wish I invested wiser, you're missing something.
Yeah. And I didn't
Because
get that
it's
from
way
him,
bigger
but
than,
I understand
like,
what
it's
you're
not
saying.
in, you know,
Yeah. He wasn't
it's just
holding on
being,
to it.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's, there was something when we were hanging out with your family. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I was talking to your cousin. I don't know if we were talking about politics or something, like, well, I didn't, it just comes up and we start talking about stuff. It was one of these subjects, but he said, where he was saying some things, and then he says, it's all perspective. But when he said perspective, it was like, it's all, and there was a pause, and there was just perspective, like just by itself, the word perspective. And nothing else was said after that. And it was just one of those things that will change your entire life. That will change your entire life when you change your perspective. You don't need to invest. You don't need to fucking do anything. You don't need anything. The only thing you need is to change your perspective.
Yeah. In order to release and let go and to feel
and just
peace.
Fucking be.
Yeah. To feel at peace. And
you don't have to earn it. You don't have to earn it. You just have to fucking let everything go and just be it.
So our event that I attended was about being it, right? Being able to just be, ultimately what it's about is just releasing and letting go and becoming the best you can be, right? Like,
Yeah.
And going to Vegas and seeing all my family and seeing my tios and my tias and being able to just be with them, like love on them, be with them, get to know them, and help them to see things with a different perspective.
Yeah.
And for me, like that was priceless for me to see my godfather.
Yeah.
And to really see him and share with him what I see.
Yeah.
That's
nice. That is really, because how many times, like, do you feel a way about somebody and they have no clue. You don't tell them.
Yeah.
Or you think something, like even your cousin. I mean, your cousin and his son, they started a business together. And I told them that, I don't know why, but for some reason, when I heard like you're building a business with your son,
yeah,
I was fucking super happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super happy for anybody that does that. And when I saw that he was doing that, I was like, dude, that's fucking amazing. I hope you guys, they're doing incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did that with all of them. And it's funny because you can tell that they're not used to hearing these things, because you can feel the shift. Like my Nino would try to like come at me and be like, oh, you're so loving, and I would be like, Nino, do you hear me? He's like, yeah. I hear you. Like, I hear you.
Who was that? There was somebody that would do that all the time. Like, you try to tell them something, they be trying to change the subject. They did not want any attention, whether it was good stuff. Nah, don't talk about me.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was it for me. Like, just being able to be that and see the healing that was happening in that space, like with my cousin and her mom. And the love that she holds for her when there was so much anger there before.
Yeah.
And witnessing how we go back. And I shared this with my aunt. I said, isn't that funny? I said, how we leave this world the same way we came in, just only wearing bigger diapers. And she's like, I never thought about that. I'm like, yes, we leave this world depending on others to feed us, to bathe us, to change us. And if you don't give into that, if you fight, if you resist the process in aging, it becomes so difficult.
Yeah.
It becomes so hard. And that's when you become angry. And that's when your heart starts to harden. And that's when you start to push people away. And that's when you start to feel lonely.
Oof. And that's when it's really hard to, your last days are really hard.
So I told her, I'm like, be okay with asking for help and be honest about it.
Yeah.
I said, because with my dad, I didn't know a lot of things. And then he started to finally open up. How do I know how I can help you if I don't know what's happening? If you're making pretend like everything is great, everything is good, which makes it more difficult on them. Because when you're used to being that person that takes care of everyone and everything, and the day comes where you can't take care of yourself, and you don't know how to ask for help and say,
life is going to be really hard. Yeah, there's I don't know when this realization came, but there's these moments in life where you're just like, you never really see things the same way again, or you never really think about things in that way again. And there was that one time that it just made sense to me about people and about how we're supposed to take care of each other. Like, share with me if you have a fucking better or a more natural way of doing things, or a better way, or how things should be done. But to me, I feel like we have kids. Mm-hmm. We do our best to raise kids. Not everybody does. But if you do things the way you're supposed to, right? You raise your, say what you want. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. The way you're supposed to. Raise your kids correctly.
People do
your
best,
fucking job.
Yeah. They do the best they can with what they know.
But if you do it sincerely, like, yes, you're going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But if you do it with a pure intention, like you love your kids, you just want the best for them.
Right.
In the end, you do your best to take care of them. They're going to get older. They'll have families. They'll have kids. And as you get older, your relationship only gets bigger and stronger as years pass. And then eventually you move with them, or you live together and they help take care of you until you pass away. Yeah. Like, that's the way it should be in a community. Mm-hmm. In like, I always go back to tribes. That's the way I see it would be in a tribe. And who the hell would I want with me in my last days? Do I want a fucking doctor and a nurse with fucking tubes and all these fucking people around me? No. Mm-hmm. I want you. I want my kids. I want my grandkids. I want the people that I love around me. Right. That's all I care about. Mm. Yeah. And we were talking, you were saying we were listening to Alan Watts, and he was mentioning something about that. Just like the process of passing away, how it's like so backwards here. Right. Like, I can't remember exactly how he explained it, but it was something like about being born is not a medical issue. That's part of natural life.
And that's why we had our children at home.
We had our kids at home.
Yes.
Because how fucking crazy.
Right?
Yeah. That we end up with this perspective on life. Mm-hmm. Like I said before. But we've been doing this shit. Yeah, we're about that life. whatever you want to call it. Like, we really do this shit. Yeah. And being born is a natural process. Mm-hmm. It's not being sick, that you need medicine and you need an operation and you need all this stuff. Neither is dying. Right. Do you die because you're sick? I mean, maybe in some cases, but it's just life playing out. Right. And I told you that there was one time that I had like this analogy that I just thought of. And I really did feel like, I was just talking to my brother about it, but like at the end of my life, and I thought about like playing video games as a kid. Mm-hmm. And all the games that I've played, where back in the day where you didn't have online games, and I would play like Metal Gear Solid, Siphon Filter, Grand Theft Auto, all these games that have like these long storylines, Resident Evil, and you get sucked into these games and you're playing them for weeks or months, and you have a fucking blast. They take you on this roller coaster ride, shit's happening, and then at the end of the game, you've played it for so long, you beat it, and the credits are happening, the fucking music is playing or whatever, and you're like, holy shit. Like, that was fucking fun. Mm-hmm. That was so much fun. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was thinking, like, why not have that perspective on life? Mm-hmm. Like, dude, you're literally beating the game. Mm-hmm. You met the final boss.
That's funny you say that. Because that's what I call Earth. A university of experience for us. It's the game of life. And you get to create it and you get to choose your character.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but when Alan Watts was saying that, you know, it is so true. You know, and it all depends. Because some of us die too young.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right? So some of us don't even get a chance to create and to choose and to play this game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all...
So do you still celebrate? Like, now that's a tough, right? Like, that's kind of tough. Because you still celebrate that because you didn't get to.
That's something
right?
that... Right.
That's...
We didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I called my friend today.
Yeah.
Because he lost his significant other. And that's something that I had shared with him. Because his spouse left this world too soon. So how can you look at it in that manner? It's kind of tough. You know, my sister was only 34 years old when she passed. And you have babies. You know, so it's just...
So what then?
It's just part of life. We live, we die. And nobody knows what tomorrow looks like.
Do you know what it goes back to?
Life is random.
That's part of it.
You know?
And perspective.
Yeah.
Because you have to, I mean, you look at, it's so weird. It's a weird thing. Because I'm thinking, right now I'm saying perspective, but another thing that I also talk about a lot is how people make meanings for things that are random. Mm-hmm. And maybe for me, perspective is, excuse me, is like, it's kind of like picking and choosing what I'm going to assign meaning to. Maybe not. Because it's like the perspective of life. I guess not, because that's not assigning meaning. That's just having a different view or a different way of seeing things. Mm-hmm. It's not assigning meaning and making up a story of why things are the way they are. So I guess it is different. But it is perspective. Like when you have somebody that passes away young, what is that perspective for them? They were alive. They got to experience life. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, maybe it got cut short or whatever, but did they have an impact? I mean, it does get tough.
Yeah.
Because what happens if it's a baby?
Right.
You know,
that's a bit different.
And the baby didn't do anything.
Right.
Like in life, literally the baby really didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And didn't experience anything. But the parents sure as hell did.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. It's complicated. And that's the thing is that I think sometimes we want things to be fucking simple and cut and dry. And we want a nice little saying that fucking applies. Mm-hmm. Right? A lot of times we want a nice little saying that rhymes that applies to this situation. And shit's not that simple.
No. But it's there to help or to share. You know, like when I made that call today to my friend, I told him, it's funny. I'll let you listen to it. I said, yeah, there's all these nice sayings. Well, at least she's not suffering anymore.
Yeah.
right? But I didn't know what else to say.
Yeah.
You know, and I mentioned that. I said, I know this isn't going to mean much, you know, but the truth is, you know, she's not suffering.
Yeah.
And she no longer has to pay bills, maybe to make him laugh.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it's part of life to live, to die. It's just part of this game, part of this life. I don't know. And there's different ways to look at it. There's different perspectives.
What is that? Like, you know, because we're talking about this stuff. This is a fucking dark one. But like, I'm just thinking right now, we get a terminal illness. Like, that's hard to imagine, picture, or whatever. I would like to think that after all the fucking, I don't know what I would be thinking. Mm-hmm. I would hope and I would think that I would land on gratitude and okay.
Yeah.
Like, if I can fight, I'm going to fight. But if I'm going to die, I'm glad I was around.
Yep.
But at what point in life is that? Because I'm 41. Mm-hmm. Can you have that same perspective at 17 when you have a terminal illness? Are you content with you're not going to live anymore? That's tough. I might be able to at 41, but at 22,
yeah,
that's
10?
harder to deal with.
10, yeah.
I don't know. And that's where like situations are different. It's not all the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, like you were mentioning, we were in Vegas, and it was awesome being able to see the family, and then after me traveling back-to-back weeks and then being away from you guys for, 1 week for a couple days, and then the next week I was gone for a few more days. Mm-hmm. Just meeting up with you guys in Vegas, you and the kids, and just walking the strip and hanging out with you guys, like, it was just amazing. It was fun. It was one of the best weekends I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first day when we arrived, we were picking you up at 7:30, but I wanted to take the kids out, to hang out on the strip. And Joey asked me, he's like, so Mom, how is it hanging out with us without Dad?
Yeah. I wonder why. Like,
because we're always like together. Like, I think
yeah,
that's
true.
The first
Yeah,
time.
because we are usually when we're
we drove up there
right,
together.
Right. It was just you and the kids.
Right. And I'm like, I'm really enjoying it because, with them, it's great. There's live bands and Audrey is very playful, very childlike, even though she's 15, right?
Very free.
Yes. And so there's the band and it's so cute. I got these videos and she's dancing and I'm dancing. And she goes to Joey and she starts dancing near Joey, and Joey's looking at her. And then he's giving in a little bit. And then,
was he?
Mm-hmm, and then we end up, the three of us, there's nobody dancing there, but the three of us end up going and we start dancing, And so just to be that with them and have that time with them was really great for me. Just so good. And I had a moment with Audrey. This was like after you and I, we picked you up and we were getting ready. Maybe it was the following day. And her and I are in the bathroom together. Yeah. And she's showering and, I'm washing, my face and brushing my teeth. And she gets out.
We're getting ready to head out.
Yep. And she gets out. And I completely just I looked at her and I stopped what I was doing. Whew, and I just got overwhelmed with emotion because I see this beautiful young lady who's no longer a baby. And I'm sitting here and she's not paying attention. She's putting lotion on her body. She's not paying attention to me. So she's just doing her. She's just being.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm watching her. And I just get overwhelmed with emotion. I just start crying. And she sees me. And we're both naked. And I just pull her in and we're just hugging. And I pulled back from her and I just told her, you are a beautiful, beautiful young lady inside and out. I said, don't you ever change for anyone. And I just started pouring into her and we were locked eye to eye. And after I shared what I shared with her, I kissed her on her forehead. And man, it was such, that moment.
That's so
was
cool.
everything. And to see her, I was just like blown away. I'm like, man, this is not my 10-year-old daughter anymore.
Yeah.
Like she's a little lady.
Yeah.
She's a woman. Like I'm looking at her and she's only 15, but she looks like a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's.
And those that's priceless. Those are the memories, the moments that are priceless.
Yeah. No, this was a special weekend for sure. Yeah, we were gonna come back Saturday. We said screw it. We checked into another hotel for Sunday, stayed another night, and then yeah, I mean it was similar for me. Like the entire weekend, you know, I would just be hugging you guys, giving you kisses, and at one point in the hotel room, we ended up having like a big throwdown, like all of us just wrestling, and we had the windows open, and we were on the first floor. And I think there was a lady. I don't think she saw us, but it was just like I would jump on Audrey, and then Joey would jump on me, and then you would jump on him, and then it was just a big doggy pile jiu-jitsu wrestling match. It was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the night that we decided to stay, we were supposed to go meet up with our cousins.
Yeah,
in Fremont, right? The older strip. And I've never been there. And so, but we were with the kids for 5 hours before, walking and hanging out with them. And on our way back, we were going to go drop off the kids. And all of a sudden, I felt me. Like, I felt
Come
me.
down.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, my body is like exhausted. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it out. And, you know, Miguel's like feeling it too, but he's like, I'm down for whatever. That's what he's telling me, right? I'm down for whatever. And he probably would have been.
I would be.
But I know exactly. Like, yeah. So anyways, that's when we decided no more.
I was thinking literally what I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm down for whatever. If this was like, I mean, we're here to visit your cousins and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I know this is not something that happens all the time, but I know you're tired. Like, we were wiped.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, so if you want to go, let's go.
Right.
You know, because I was like, if it was me and my friends, is like, you know what? I might be like, I'm fucking tired, but we're going to go.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, let's go, you know?
Yeah. But so we ended up staying, and there was just a shit show on our bed.
Yeah.
With our kids.
Yeah.
But watching them play and hang out together, you know, and they were being silly together.
You know, and after all this time, like, you know, we've mentioned on here before, if you guys have been listening for a little while, like there's times where them being teenagers, you know, our son being 13 and our daughter being 15, at this point, like there was a time, I think one of the episodes, because I said like we released one of the early episodes from way back in the day, way back, you know, but in the podcast back in the day, we used to talk about how the kids were inseparable, how we had all these bedrooms that weren't being used because the kids would sleep in one room in one bed. Like how we could rent rooms out and make money.
Right.
You know? And like, what are we going to do? Because the kids are getting older and they can't be showering together and sleeping together and doing all this stuff all the time.
Right.
And then they go through this phase, which is hard for us.
Right.
Because they're
like fighting now, like cats and dogs.
Now it's like, get off of me. Don't touch me. Get away from me. Right. And they go through this phase. And then now this weekend, finally like seeing them playing and joking and all that. Like, it's not like they don't do it, but today or this past weekend was like, it was just happening a lot more consistently. Like, we were all just kind of bonding this whole weekend.
And maybe it was because we were in the same space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't get away.
Yeah.
Right. Except for when our daughter would go and hide in the closet to go get on,
so
like, hang out
funny.
for a little bit.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? She's like closing the closet door.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is hilarious.
So you were telling me that before I got there, on Thursday, you and the kids had been in Vegas for the day, and I was working, and you guys were walking through the casinos and stuff like that. And Joey he's been like 3D printing stuff like nonstop, you know? And he had this butterfly knife that he had made, a 3D printed butterfly knife. And, you know, it was blue plastic. And I guess he had got stopped by security in the casino.
Yeah, we had just gotten there too, not that long ago. And, you know, he's just playing with it. It's a fidget, whatever. Yeah. Right. And he was playing with it. And before we even walked in, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea, like to have, you know, to bring that down. But it was just a thought, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not,
you know,
it is a legit thought.
And yeah, we were in there maybe 5 minutes, and there were 2 security guards that came up.
Yeah.
You know, and asked, you know, about his knife.
Yeah.
And Joey just like took it out like nothing, like yeah, like it's a toy.
You guys want to see it?
I created it. I made it with my 3D printer.
Oh my God.
And then
I'm sure he starts
it.
going, do you guys know what an Ender 3 is?
Yeah.
The filament I use glows in the dark. And you know,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. You want to buy one?
But yeah, so that happened. And I'm like, see, do you understand now? Because he didn't get it.
Yeah. He didn't see what the big deal was.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So later on, we were hanging out with your family, and I was talking to Joey, and I was telling him I hadn't seen the 3D printed knife that he made. He's printed all kinds of stuff, but he had sent me a picture while I was away at work, and he showed me that he printed the knife, and I was like, oh, dude, that's cool, you know? And then I was actually kind of like, when I get back, I'm going to show him how to use a butterfly knife, because I used to have one when I was a kid, and I know how to use it. And I learned a couple tricks with it and all that stuff. And so when I got to Vegas, and you picked me up, and I'm talking to Joey, and you know, I'm asking him about the knife, and he was telling me about what happened. He started asking me questions about butterfly. He's like, do you know how much it was? And I'm like, I can't remember. I bought it when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't know, maybe your age, maybe younger, or yeah, probably about his age. He's 13. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about his age. And he asked me, I don't know if he asked me like, why did you have a knife? Or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think he did. Or he was like, how come, where did you get the knife? Or why did you have the knife? And I told him, in case I needed to stab somebody. Like, just like that. And he just like looked at me. And I told him, he said, why did you have a knife? And I turned and looked at him, and I said, in case I needed to stab somebody. And he looked at me with like a confused look, like he couldn't believe that. Mm-hmm. And while he was looking at me, I told him, me and you didn't grow up the same. I grew up in Queens, New York. You grow up in Arizona, in the suburbs. We grew up very differently. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, I remember. And it's not like a tough guy type of thing. Like, it's not something that I would ever, like, that's fucking scary. That is a scary, scary thing. But it was like, dude, if something happens. And then I think sometimes people and parents, like, we have kids. And I think a lot of times we feel like, I mean, they come from us, but they are not us. They have a lot of us in them, but they are not us. And they do not have the experiences that we have. Like, there are some things about people that are passed down, right? But there are certain things that are learned. And the things that you learn growing up in a rough neighborhood, I don't think those things pass down. Those things are learned through experience, and he has no clue what the hell that's like. You know, like being 13, his age, and just jumping on the 7 train in Main Street, Flushing, and riding it 45 minutes into Times Square with a couple 40s and my friends, getting drunk on the train to go watch tourists. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Yeah. Absolutely not. Him with his fucking fidget spinners and shit and his drones, you know, like, no.
Yeah.
So, but he's my son, right? And sometimes I think that people feel like, dude, I'm this way, that's the way they should be. Or I grew up like that. You should know better. But it's like, dude, they didn't grow through the same things that, like, there's a thing about, like I told him, growing up in a rough neighborhood, you learn a lot of stuff. You learn to be on your toes. You learn to pay attention to your surroundings. Like there's just certain things that you pick up that you just don't get if you grow up in a utopia where everything is, where they have fucking baskets of fruit for the kids that are getting on the bus at the bus stop.
Right.
Instead of stepping over the fucking crackheads on your way to school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
You know, and but that's okay. You know, it's just that the lessons that we learned in that way, they got to learn in another way. It doesn't mean that they don't have to learn them, because these lessons are freaking important, because they are very helpful throughout life.
So when you shared this with him, what was his response? Did he understand?
It wasn't really a response, but he did, like, he was like, yeah, he gets it. You know what I mean? At his age, I had already somebody flashed a gun at me. So yeah, I carried a knife.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different walking down our neighborhood.
You kidding me? Oh my God. Fucking dogs wear shoes in this neighborhood.
Oh my God.
Oh shit.
But yeah, so it's like, how do you teach them these lessons? Right? How do you teach them? How do you, with the whole, I wonder if that's the lack of common sense.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah.
You know?
Part of it. Well, I'll tell you one thing, that little ways, in smaller ways, and in not as serious ways. Like, I learned about hustling by going down to Times Square and watching the guys play 3-card Monte and watching them hustle all the people that are standing around. I saw that face to face. I see when the cops come by and they knock everything over and grab all the money and take off. You know, like, so how does he learn that? You know how?
By taking him to Vegas and letting him walk the strip.
Oh
Our kids learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah, they did. They grew a couple years this weekend. But no, like, he's been into this 3D printing thing, like I'm talking about. And he's like searching, and he found a fucking deal on this 3D printer that is, like, I don't know how expensive. A deal that when he showed it to me and told me how much it was, I'm like, maybe we should buy 5 of those. And it was a Costco deal. And then he shares it with me, and then I look at it, and I'm like, something's off about this. First of all, I look up the printer, and it is worth a lot of money. And I know sometimes websites make mistakes, and you can freaking snatch a bunch if they mess up the price and you get a freaking deal on them. But something was off about this. And it was a Costco website. So what did I do? I get out of everything. I close everything out. And then I go to Costco.com and I log in. Okay. And I search the thing. And then I click on his link, And if his link was from a Costco thing, it should already log me in and I should be able to see it. But it takes me to the same website and it says log in. I'm like, it shouldn't say that. And also it said that there was it was like 4 left before, and now there's 11 left. And there was only so much time, and now there's more time than there was before. I'm like, something's off about this site. And then when you check the address, it's not Costco.com.
Did you show him all of that?
I showed him all of that.
Okay.
I showed him all of that. And I'm like, what happens here is if you give them your information, they'll steal it. They'll steal your money and steal your identity. You don't have to go and watch the 3-card Monty guys. I don't remember if I got hustled by these guys ever, but I'll tell you, it doesn't take much. It takes you get hustled a couple times and you don't get hustled anymore. Like the President Bush said that one time, fool me once, shame on. Look, fool me, can't get fooled again. Right? But like for him, he has this example now. Like there's scams out there. If it seems too good to be, that's how you learn these lessons.
Yeah.
If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
No, he was probably sad.
He was sad. I broke his heart.
He was probably so excited. Oh.
Yeah. But I told him, I'm like, sometimes you will find the deal and you got to be ready to take advantage of that deal, you know, but you got to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, they live in a different world, man.
They do.
We live in a different world. Like the world changes so fast. Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yesterday, you and I were talking about, how did we get on this subject? We were talking about the difference in technology and how back in the day, Knight Rider
Yes.
was like, ooh, that is so cool. Like that was the future, you know?
What we were talking about was something that I read somewhere. It was a post, or I think it was a post. It was something that I was reading. And it said that people that grew up like in the 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s were like that might be one of the best times really to be alive. Like if you lived through those eras, those might have been the best times to be alive, because it was a time where there was just enough technology to make you feel like you were in the future, but not enough technology where it just consumes your entire life.
Right.
Like it does now.
Yeah.
You know, and like the example that I gave you was Knight Rider.
Right.
Like back then it was just when the freaking
That's all
hi
it was,
Michael,
the lights,
you know, and it was like, holy shit, like that's what the future is gonna be like. You know what I mean? And that was the coolest shit ever.
God.
Like imagine like if that was the height of technology today, it'd be like, get the out of here with that.
We
like
have cars that drive
that's so
themselves.
lame. Like in Vegas, we were seeing all kinds of crazy little buses driving themselves around. This shit is getting weird.
Right. Yeah. It's just absolutely insane how fast technology has changed.
Vegas is funny, man. Vegas reminds me, like, it's one of these big cities, but Vegas reminds me of New York. Like, when I was on my work trip, I actually went to work in New York for a few days. And one of the guys that I was working with who's from there. He was saying, like, in New York, like, it's okay to be whoever the hell you want. You can be as weird as you want to be in New York.
And it's okay. Right.
And Vegas is the same way.
Right.
You know? I had some Elvis in a freaking little scooter yelling at me in Vegas. Like I got in his way. He's like, ah! I was like, I yelled at him back. I'm like, ah, what are you yelling at? Like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
Oh my God. We saw some kids skateboarding through the casino. They looked like they were having a blast. That was cool.
Yeah. Joey got to witness that and see that. That was really good for him.
Yeah.
Just all these things, you know, and being able to, and then we went to the chapel where we got married.
Oh my God. Yeah. Freaking 2008. 17 years ago.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yep.
It's no longer there.
No.
I said we made it longer than the chapel did.
Right. We took a picture of it because we have a picture of both of us pointing up
at the busted down sign.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Like there's nothing there. The building's knocked down. It's abandoned.
Yeah. Well, there's no building.
Yeah, the building's knocked down.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
it's
nothing
just-
there. It's just a foundation and garbage.
Right. Right.
Crazy.
Right. I know. I was so excited. I'm like, ooh, let's go take the kids.
Yeah.
We get there and there's nothing there. I'm like, well, here we go.
Yep.
But it's, yeah, I think that the times that we're living in, because there's so much distraction around us, that it's so important for us to see what is truly important. And I think that this weekend, being surrounded by my uncles and my aunts and my cousins, but really my uncles and my aunts, and seeing where they are and how much they aged, and the importance that it is, the importance of really getting to know them, and seeing like, wow, it's the aging process, and having the appreciation of what we grow through, what we go through, and the acceptance. Oof, that was a big one.
If you could go back 20 years, let's say, I was thinking about me 20 years. I don't want to do that. But like 20 years, not in the same exact situation, but you're just 20 years younger.
Mm-hmm. No, I was good. I was
and
28.
You can just live. I'm not saying "20 years ago you weren't with me. Mm-hmm. Maybe you were with somebody else or whatever. Like whether that was good or not good. Like let's say you go back 20 years and you could be in that relationship, not be in that relationship, whatever. But you get to start like tomorrow. You wake up and you're 20 years younger, but with none of the knowledge that you have today. Would you?
No.
Like you're just back to 20 and then you get to live life again.
No, because there's no saying if the wisdom, the things that I know today and who I am today. No, I love where I am and I love who I am today. And the wisdom that has come with. Because you don't know what direction. If you go back, there's no guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right? That I will meet you.
End up in a shit show.
You know how many things could have went wrong?
I had to throw in that asterisk. Like you could be with like nobody if you choose to be. Because that, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because 20 years back, I'd be like, nah, for sure, no.
Yeah. Like, no. Because you just don't know. And I'm like, no, my life is.
But even still, yeah, I don't. Yeah, like you said, there's no telling where you end up.
No.
Huh.
Yeah, no. No, thank you.
That's weird.
No, I love where I am today and who I am today and where I'm going. Like where just knowing.
So if you could do it and have the knowledge, would you do it? Let's say we could go back 17 years and we have the knowledge.
No.
Let's say we go back 17 years and we have the knowledge. And
wait, 17, so then we would still know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell the kids you said that.
Why? Because you wouldn't have them?
Who knows?
If we're together.
I'm just saying, if you go back, we're making the same exact kids at the same exact, like, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess. That's the butterfly. That's the butterfly. It's the butterfly effect. There's no way they're going to be the same kids. It's never the same. This is that Alan Watts thing. Well, or maybe not. Maybe I'm kind of confusing things, but he was kind of talking about that, like how things are the same, but not. Remember? He maybe it's not exactly the same example, but he was talking about how when an artist plays a piece of music and then plays that music the next night, is it the same music? or is it different?
But it's the same music. But it's just the following day?
It's the following day, but he's playing it. Is it the same or is it different? Because it's never the same. It's never the same.
How is it never the same if the same person is singing it just a different day? It's like I'm singing a song today and then I'm going to sing it tomorrow. Is it the same song?
And you will sing it exactly the same every single time. No.
But it's not the same song because you're singing it a different day?
The song is the same.
Right.
But it's not the same.
Because the person...
Because it's a different day. It's a different time. It's a completely different thing. It is the same song, but it's not the same song.
How so?
Because it'll never be the same song. The first song is the song. And unless you're playing, unless you're playing a recording of a song.
Is that what you mean? Like if they're singing it for the first time?
The only way it would be the same is if you didn't sing it and you just played it. Then it's the same song. Then it's the same song every time.
Okay, I see.
But if you're singing the song, it's never the same song every time.
Interesting. Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? Who the hell knows?
What are you drinking in that cup?
I think I just confused myself. And with that, if you guys would like to be confused some more, make sure you come back and listen to us.
Oh my God.
Because I know we do a lot of that on this podcast.
Love it.
Like, what the fuck are they talking about?
What are you talking about? What are you drinking in that cup, boy?
Nothing is no. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. No more for you. No.
It's coffee, yo.
No more coffee for you.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I get it. And then I don't. No.
You have to listen to it again.
Yeah, Miguel's been listening to this Alan Watts. What is it called?
Damn it.
I put him on the spot.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. But what that was about, really, I mean, it's kind of like how things can be the same but different at the same time. Kind of like people. How people can be so different and essentially still be the same. You know? We can look different. The book that this all comes out of is Out of Your Mind by Alan Watts. This is actually, it's an audio book. It's not really a book. It's a collection of lectures from Alan Watts, and it's on Audible. But it's called Out of Your Mind. It was awesome. Yeah, I just finished it. So, yep. If you guys want, you can check it out. I don't know if you guys can get that through the link or whatever, but if you do, it'll help. You guys can try that. Make sure you go to monkeys number 8 mushrooms, monkeys8mushrooms.com if you guys want to pick up one of our t-shirts. And make sure you guys check it out from time to time because there'll be different designs that are coming. There's already another one that has been made by my brother, and I'm going to be working on that to, digitize it and put it on a t-shirt and all that. So
very good.
Yeah, make sure you guys check that out.
And if you're interested in attending Radiant Souls Retreat, which is going to be May 8th through the 11th, you can go to soniaramirez.com. There you can find me on all platforms. It gives information on a little bit on the retreat. There's a Facebook page as well that you can join. But again, it's going to be May 8th through the 11th. And yeah.
Yep. And also make sure you guys check out Fighting for Your Life podcast. I just had one of our training partners and a doctor talking about all the injuries in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And you guys will be seeing Soul to Soul podcast come out. I don't know when. We still got to talk about it. But the first episode is recorded. We are already on our way. Sonja's doing her thing. So that's exciting.
Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.